I did play Ragnarok enough. Twisted's like, but you didn't play Ragnarok. I played it for 4 or 5 hours. How much longer do I have to sit and play something that's not engaging me just to be able to have a conversation with you? I fucking created the goddamn thing in terms of the universe. I think I can speak to the fucking game. And if me stopping it after 4 or 5 hours doesn't tell you what I think of the game, well, then I don't know what will. I loved the production of it. It was brilliantly made. The audio is brilliant. The soundtrack is brilliant. The performance is brilliant. The controls are brilliant. I just so far haven't been engaged with it. I don't care though. Do you understand what you're saying? It sounds like you have Stockholm syndrome. This guy in the chat, Ionic, says 4 or 5 hours is just the tutorial, LOL. If your fucking game goes 5 hours and you're still in the tutorial and you're willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, that's a you problem. That is a you problem. If the game can't be bothered to engage and entertain the fuck out of me in the first hour, the first 20 minutes, let alone the first 5 hours, and you're blaming me, you, my friend, have been bamboozled and hoodwinked, as Denzel says. Jaffe, that's not enough, says Prince Green. I put in 45 hours and I'm just halfway done. It's not a fucking job. I put in 45 hours. When you get to the Light Elves, that's still the very beginning. I don't care. It's a ridiculous concept. Gamers are some of the fucking weirdest gatekeeping motherfucking people I've ever met in my goddamn life. You're the one that's being fucked. Here's what I'll tell you. If you played the first hour of Ragnarok and you said it was a tutorial, but you still were engaged and you loved it, then great. That's fantastic. But if you're using my comment that I got bored of the game and you're saying, oh, well, that's because the first 4 to 5 hours are boring, but it's a tutorial, don't fucking blame me for that. You can give an opinion, but you can't review it. Says, I can do whatever the fuck I want, Wonderbat. I'm tired of that shit too. I've been playing games longer than most of y'all been alive. I play more games than 95% of the people watching this fucking chat. I'm almost certain, maybe 90, because we have some journalists in here and we have some super fucking hardcore gamers in here. But if what you're saying is this, I watched Game of Thrones. I watched the first 7 episodes. I stopped watching it. I didn't like it. Well, your opinion's not valid. Sure, it's valid. It's valid that suggests that after 7 hours of that fucking show, I couldn't watch anymore. Why is that not valid? It may not be valid if you want to invite me to a symposium to discuss the character arcs of the various people who died in that series. Certainly you wouldn't want to invite me to that conversation because I don't have that data. But my review of I got so bored that I stopped watching or playing after 5 hours is just as valid as somebody who played the whole fucking game and loved it. Oh, shut up, Frank. Jaffe, it's so obvious you're salty over the accolades these new God of War games you get. No, it's not obvious. It's obvious only if you've never had any success in your life, Frank, and you think that to be part of something like God of War that is getting accolades, even if you don't enjoy doing the work to get those accolades, is worth it. I used to think that way. I absolutely used to think that way. But no, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I raved about God of War 2018. I said it was phenomenal. Go look at my reviews. I had issues with it, but I said it was fucking phenomenal. One of my favorite games of the year. The idea that I can't criticize, I'm just sick of that narrative. Man, you're salty. No, I'm not. It's not becoming increasingly... Okay, Frank says, I love you, Jaffe, but it's becoming increasingly clear. If it's becoming increasingly clear, explain to me why I raved about 2018's God of War. Explain to me why I am saying the combat in the new God of War is awesome. The effects are awesome. The art is awesome. The production is awesome. How is that salty? I just didn't like the game at a pacing level, and it bored me. What's the problem? But I think what I'm just tired of is I'm tired of gamers who come into my world, in my chat, and it's not that they're not welcome as long as they're okay with us bantering back and forth, but I'm tired of being told what my behavior is born out of, especially given my history making and playing games, and especially given my history of going to therapy and knowing myself and being a pretty self-aware guy. I would argue perhaps that you're putting your own thoughts of how you would respond to something like God of War on me. Trust me, if I wanted to still be in the game industry in a meaningful way, I have no idea if I have the talent anymore to be in it in a meaningful way, but I would be fucking knocking at that door trying. But people have a hard time believing that, and I'm just really getting sick and tired of fucking dealing with it. And it's not just on this chat, it's just in games in general. It's just, you know, and maybe it's any fandom. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's music. Everybody's so bitchy and catty and your thing's wrong. Your thing's right. Your thing's wrong. It's gross. I'm tired of it. Swagbase says, I think it's that people trying to force you to like what they like. I respect that you can articulate what you liked about a game and you didn't enough to finish, and it's fine if you don't agree. I thank you for that. I appreciate that, Swag-based Overlord. It's nice to hear someone say that. It's like, yeah, I can have a nuanced conversation. Not even this is nuance. We're not arguing particle physics, but I can have a semi-nuanced conversation with you, Jaffe, and I hear what you say, and I get it's connecting when you say I like this, but I don't like this about it. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. John A says he did finish 2018. Yeah, I do finish games. I probably finish people, but somebody in the earlier of the chat said, well, maybe you don't finish games, Jaffe. Maybe it's you, not the games. I do finish games, but I can articulate why I stuck with it. I loved Evil West until I got bored of it because it was the same thing over and over and over. I loved Elden Ring, and I've stuck with it even though I haven't beat it. I have like over 160 hours in that game because it continues to engage my brain. This idea that there's some nobility in sticking with something when you lose interest. Prince Green says it's born out of the fact that people paid for the game so they feel the need to finish it. But you're right. You don't have to finish a game to enjoy it. Right. It's a ridiculous concept. Thank you, sir.